That girl Henny, y'all gotta go to her channel.
The girl Henny, do you know who she is?
She a blogger or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where did this lady come from?
You
Girl
right?
been on your ass.
She on your life, G.
Shout out to Henny over there.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite guys and Dr. Under That Girl, Henny. And today, I am so sorry that I am delayed and I did not come back this morning like I was supposed to because I had a lot that was going on. But I had some information that I was trying to drop to y'all this morning, and somebody beat me to it. That somebody would happen to be none other than TMZ. But it doesn't matter. It don't matter. I'm still going to give y'all what I was supposed to give y'all already. So if you are new here, welcome, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click the notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, now let's get into this content. So information is going all out right now when it comes down to the boys and the boat. Okay. And I'm not going to keep y'all here very long or longer than I have to, but we have the recording, the full audio. I just dropped it on my Instagram page. It was not. It was supposed to go out at the wee hours of the morning, but I said, nah, I'm going to hold on to it. But I ain't going to hold on to nothing no more. But we have the full audio from the CETO. Okay. Now, CETO, if you don't know, that is where Warren and Bart and who else? Warren, Bart, Wyatt, and whoever else was there with them. They made a distress call. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive right into all of this. I am going to play for y'all a little bit of the interview, the part 3 interview with Warren, where he is talking about the boat and the situation that happened. Because the situation with the boat is what's been into question with everyone, right? Now, people have been saying that this did not happen, that it was made up. And when the audio was dropped to us by the legacy news media outlets, I can't remember who it was that dropped it first. I think it may have been Good Morning America. Was it ABC or NBC? It was one of them BCs that dropped the information, and they chopped up this audio, you guys, just so you guys know. Okay. So we're going to listen to this before we get into that. Hold on one second. Okay. Boom. And let's get this up here on this screen for y'all. All right. Let's listen to what he said versus what we hear. All right. I apologize, y'all. Oh, shoot. Hold on. It was already playing. All right. So this is what Warren had to say about the boat.
So many people getting on and off the boat. And at some point, the boat was very, very crowded. And there was just a lot of people on. So that it drags water in. And eventually, I think over time, we were out there for a couple hours. The boat just started filling up with water. So I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater. And so the motor wouldn't trim down. I mean, my buddy would go to trim it down from the console, and it'd trim down, and then it'd come right back up.
Okay, so I did a little research to find out exactly what he's talking about, because if you remember yesterday, we didn't know what he was trying to explain to us, really. well, maybe I just didn't know what he was trying to explain to us really, but we were trying to figure out exactly what he was trying to explain to us. And so now I have a little bit of information where I can share with y'all what it is that he was doing. So basically, what's happening here is there's weight on the boat. The weight on the boat is weighing it down in the back, okay? And it's weight from the people getting on and off the boat. The engine that he is trying to trim, it's like a hydraulic system where the motor has to kind of like, let me make sure that I explain this to you guys correctly, all right? So all right, the boat is filling up with water. All right. And so everybody's on there. When he says he popped the starboard hatch, that's like a hatch on the right side of the boat. And it's like a storage compartment, but the battery is there. So the battery, they're on a bass boat from what I'm understanding. And so the batteries, they're like mounted in the rear compartment of the boat. And if the batteries go underwater, that's telling you that the boat has taken on a significant amount of water. So when the motor won't trim down, it's the hydraulic system that rises and lowers the outboard motor. So when you're running, you adjust the trim to keep the boat balanced, right? So I'm going to assume that this is one of those boats that has that motor that's in the back of the boat. And I know you guys have seen those boats. They have the motor on the back of it that you move from side to side and all of that. Well, if that loses electrical power or the trim motor is affected, the engine may stop responding correctly. And so when he's saying he tried to trim down, it means he tried to press down so the motor would stay down, but it would come right back up. I hope I explained that right.
And so Wyatt's trying to throw a rear anchor. So we're caught, and he's, yelling at people. Everybody's kind of freaking out.
So when he says that Wyatt is trying to throw the rear anchor, he's trying to anchor the boat down so that the boat doesn't drift or, doesn't get thrown. So he's trying to stabilize the boat. And
eventually I'm like yelling at other people, trying to tell them, calm down. Like, the boat could possibly sink, and I'm not paying attention to everyone around me. I was paying attention to my buddy's boat. And that's what all my other friends that were on that boat were doing, trying to solve the problem.
So you're on the boat now. The water is getting up to the point where the boat may be disabled to where you couldn't get it out.
Correct.
From Horn Island. So what happens after that?
Wyatt jumps in the water, tries to throw a rear anchor, and my buddy Meyer, you're sitting looking, trying to pull trash out the bilge. And the bilge is basically a pump that pulls the excess water out the boat.
So the trash that he's saying that the bilge could have possibly collected, it could be like leaves, grass, fishing line, plastic, debris, sand. So they're trying to clear out the bilge pump. Now, the bilge pump is supposed to remove whatever water is on the boat. Like when the boat, maybe it's outside in the rain and it starts gathering water inside of it because it was out in the rain, they would use the bilge pump to get rid of it. All right. So that's what they're trying to clear out, because they're trying to get the water out of the boat because the boat has taken on a significant amount of water.
So the bilge was failing to work. So any excess water was just sitting in the boat. It wasn't getting pumped out. And I looked over the gunnel and I looked at the release hole for the bilge, and it was even with the water.
So the bilge pump has a hole that as it pumps the water out, it goes out of. So when he looked over the side of the boat, he's seeing that the hole is level to the water. So there's no way for the water to go out, is what he's explaining.
So, I mean, we're all freaking out. All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well, then eventually my buddy Bart on the tide line is like, I'm going to pull y'all out to where we're out of all this, all this chaos. Cause we left at 4:30 and there was still just as many people there, if not more, than when we got there. I mean, probably around the same amount. I mean, it was crazy. Like there was a lot of people, and I mean, eventually Bart pulls us out. You know, we left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out, and we had the towing strap pulled from, you know, Bart's port side cleat or starboard.
Okay, so this is where we need to stop at. So he's telling us that Bart started towing them out. And he says that Bart towed him out about a quarter of a mile. But in between that, he gets cut off. And so we don't know what really happened, but we do.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
What'd you say? Hey,
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right, well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir?
I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkerson. I think it's Jerry Atkerson. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't
All
have
right,
the tag
unless
on
you
here.
have a
It got ripped
membership
off.
number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
So it blanks out to conceal his number.
All right, and is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How
on
many?
board.
All right, do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right, do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
So now he's
If
on.
not, I can send you a text message.
So now he's on his phone. He's not on a radio. He does not have a radio on the boat because it sounds like this is a bass boat. But I'm going to reveal to y'all when this is done who this is that's actually making this call.
That girl North. All right, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm available.
North 30 degrees. But 46.72.
All right, 4672. All right, and you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
First of all, what do you mean, yeah, what? How are you answering? I get it that they're in quote unquote distress, but how are you answering, yeah, what?
No, we do not have the VHF radio.
All right, well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
Okay.
17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou launch.
Okay, so he's not aground. He first starts off by saying that he was in 17 feet, but then he says 30 feet of water. All right. And they're trying to get help. I get it. Again, if your boat is going down, it's frustrating, but this lady got the patience of a saint because I wouldn't have been able to keep my composure.
All right. How many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Okay, so when he says jump in, Bart, and pull the plug, he's pulling the plug. Yesterday, I misunderstood and I missed that part where Warren said that Wyatt or whomever pulled the plug out. I believe he said Wyatt pulled the plug out, but Bart pulled the plug out of the boat. Now, in order to pull the plug out of the boat, they had to pull the plug out in order for them to be able to release some of the water in the boat.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay,
How many adults on board?
There's 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir.
Before she finishes her answer, nobody here is over the age of 21. Yet we consistently keep hearing how everybody has been drinking. There's the proof right there that everybody was underage drinking. Where the beer, the booze, whatever they were drinking come from, we don't know. He does sound a bit intoxicated. Yes, I agree with you, True Scorpio. He does sound a bit intoxicated. Absolutely. Okay. But this next series of questions that she's going to ask raised my eyebrow just a bit.
That was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
She asked if there is a living individual on the boat, which raised my eyebrow.
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right.
So they are calling in the Triton, but the boat that Bart has is called the Tide Line. I want y'all to remember that. So they're calling in for a tow for the Triton, but the boat is the Tide Line. Now, I don't know why she said, because he said no kids, no adults. Okay, I'll give you that, Ruby Reds. I'll give you that because he said there was no adults, there was no kids on the boat. So she asked, was there anybody breathing? I guess asking if the boat was empty, if the boat was just by itself. I'll give you that. But I still, in this situation, I just felt like, why did they ask that? Okay, True Scorpio said maritime terms. We're not maritime people, so maybe. She was like, so there's nobody on the boat. Okay. Yeah, it's the verbiage of it. Like, knowing what we know now, at the time, this wasn't the case of what was going on. But because of where we are right now, it's just kind of like, whoa, you're asking if there's anybody breathing on the boat. But I get what you guys are saying. I ain't going to jump off the deep end. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to come back to shore because I was jumping out the window with this one.
All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Yeah, thank you.
Official that girl Henny. Now, again, I'm saying official that girl Henny throughout the recording because I was going to drop this at 2:00 in the morning and I didn't because I wanted to come on here and I wanted to share it with y'all. Come on, Ruby Reg, you've been here for a long time. You already know how I give it up. I was about to jump, honey. Look, Mysterious said I was with you, girl. We was hand in hand about to jump off this clip. Greed is at an all-time high. It exceeds fear. I don't know how.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee for service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking. And he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24 footer, but that's all he could give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said that Jerry. Yeah, he said,
okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So I'm guessing that they may have figured it out because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And again, I couldn't find, he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership. So it's just under Jerry fee for service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to, if you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is Jerry a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. Transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up Jerry's membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are.
You can try this cell phone number.
Official.
Yes, sir.
Girl Henny.
Anything on this phone number.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to say this. Jerry, yes. So Jerry called the captain. Now, I can tell you who Jerry is. Jerry is Bart's grandfather. So apparently Bart called Jerry and told him about the boat. And Jerry called the captain and told the captain they no longer needed the tow. But we just heard that they did need the tow, but I guess they figured it out. Maybe, I don't even want to speculate really, but look at the close proximity of connection where Jerry is able to call the captain and the captain was already aware. You spooking me out whispering in my headphones. I'm not whispering. Who's whispering? I'm not whispering. The captain sounds like they will let you sink if you're not. I was going to say that, True Scorpio. That captain said they can't be towing nobody who ain't a member. So you mean to tell me that if it turned out that their boat was actually going down, like really, like they never figured it out or whatever, the captain wouldn't have gone out there to go get them? I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. Exactly. Jerry called first. Jerry called the captain. They called into dispatch to get a tow. They never canceled the tow. Jerry canceled the tow.
All right. Yep. Jerry. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm gonna send you over an accurate one under this Jerry Ackerson one. Okay, he's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes. Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right. And yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right, transferring now. Thank you again, Captain.
All
Stay
righty.
safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now watch this. This is why you don't piss off people that help you. This is why you don't piss off people that are supposed to help you. Look at how long it takes her to get back to the line.
Official that girl.
Do you see how long?
Hello?
Uh-huh.
Hello? Are you there?
Official
I apologize. I will
that
be
girl.
disconnecting due to lack of response.
So the boys have now hung up the phone. Okay? The boys have now hung up the phone. So I'm going to assume Jerry is the one that told them to pull the plug. Well, we're not going to have to assume too much more. Okay? So now let's get into these documents that I have. Okay? Because I have the documents. Oh, Henny got the docs, baby. So as the part of the missing persons case that has gone on, I do have photographs of Jerry and Bart. But let me explain to y'all what has happened. In the midst of all of the stuff that has gone down, let me take this off the screen real quick. In the midst of everything that has gone down, what you have to remember is that there is one Nolan Wells who is now missing. Okay? He is now missing. All right? Now, let's get into this document right here. This is an email. And this is a MSDMR request for SAR data. Okay? Now, it says, good evening. As part of our response to the MS, which is missing persons, DMR request SAR data related to the missing person, Nolan Wells. The MDMR will use this data to start sonar scans. Okay, so I jumped ahead of myself because they were getting ready to start doing sonar scans to look for Nolan's body. And there is something that I am going to highlight on here, but I'm going to take a minute before we do that. So everyone is talking about how boats were searched. So let me go ahead. Should I give y'all this first? I don't think I should give y'all that first. I think I should give y'all this first. Let's go with the Maritime Patrol first. So this is from MDMR Marine Patrol. All right. And as you can see up here, I hope you can see. Yeah, I think y'all can see that. Y'all could, well, let me change it. Let me change my watermark up. I think this one is a little lighter. Okay. So these are the reports that came from the Marine Patrol that was looking for Nolan. Okay. These are their reports. All right. So it says that this is a non-criminal report. And Bart Joseph, and Bart, the friend Bart, and Jerry Ralph. Okay, these are the people who they have talked to. It says the location is the north tip of Horn Island, Ocean Springs. Tidecraft Black, this is the boat that they own. This is from the description of property is an admin file containing waypoints, right? It's evidence. So what does this mean when we're looking at this report? That they've taken down, okay, so the Triton boat, Wyatt had it wrong. The Triton boat belongs to Jerry. The Triton boat belongs to Jerry, and it was driven by Bart. Okay? So this is where they had a non-criminal report for them to search. They wanted the GPS because this is evidence. And it is an admin file containing waypoints. Okay? Now, hold on one second. Let me. All right. So waypoints is the GPS navigation system, navigation. And hold on. GPS navigation waypoints are saved geographic locations that mark a specific place. Okay, so they can mark where you launch the boat, a fishing spot, a sandbar, an island, a dock, a marina, the location of an emergency, a point where you want to return. The GPS unit stores all of this information inside of the waypoint. So they picked up, in hindsight, they took a copy, an admin file, with the waypoints for the routes and tracks. And again, this is evidence. This is GPS evidence. All right? And over here, they have statements, and we're going to get into these statements. But before we get into these statements, here are the permissions. You see here that Jerry Ackerson, all right, he gave permission to Shay Smith and other officers of the Department of Marine Resources to search the following properties, and further authorize the officers to remove any document or item which may be deemed pertinent in their investigation, with the understanding that they would be provided a receipt of anything removed. So here is the vessel, there is the VIN number, okay, and it is signed. Jerry and Bart both consented to the boat being searched. So we have at least one boat that has been searched by the Office of Marine Patrol. Okay, now let's continue with the reports. All right, so this report is being taken by Shay Smith. Her supervisor is William Freeman Jr. All right, so now we can go back to this first report, because this is where Nolan is reported missing. All right. And so it says, while information is still limited, we request the following to be used as data. So you have July 4th, 1800 hours. That's 7 o'clock. Okay. That's the last. I don't know if this is, I'm confused. $6 o'clock. All right. Based on original vessel GPS data. So they were looking for GPS data. The subject is a black male, 6'1", 180 pounds. Food intake is unknown. Okay, I think this is from Sunday the 5th. All right. It says the food intake is unknown. Alcohol intake heavy. That doesn't sit right with me. Alcohol intake is heavy. Oh my God, it won't highlight. Oh, this is pissing me off. Okay. Right here. Clothing. Let me move this up. Clothing is shorts only. Okay. So this is the report, I'm assuming, that was put in for Nolan. Okay. And I'm highlighting this so I know that we've already talked about this. Now, what's alarming to me is this time right here. That's alarming to me. Because what do you mean? This is 6 p.m. Do y'all see that? How do they know 6 p.m.? It says, as part of our response, the MDMR request, SAR data related to the missing person, Nolan Wells, the MDMR will use this data to start sonar scans in the area. While information is still limited, we request the following to be used for data. The mother did get called at 11 p.m. Okay, so where did they get this time at? July 4th at 1800 hours Central Standard Time. Okay, hold on. Is this the same thing? This is the same thing. And there, I just didn't highlight it. And they're putting this email out. Will Freeman is putting this email out on Sunday, July 5th at 9:52 p.m. So this is way later in the day on Sunday that this report went out. So who gave them that time? Things that make you go, right? So now let's get into the report. So it says on Sunday, July 4th, 2026 at 23:49 p.m. Okay. Now they are running off of military time. So 23:49 would be 11. Okay, so at 23:49, at 11:49 p.m., Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, MDMR, Lieutenant Patrick Caron, I believe it's Caron, was advised by dispatch of a call reporting a missing male, Nolan Wells, on Horn Island. The caller told dispatch her 18-year-old son rode to Horn Island on a vessel with friends, was last seen around 1500 hours. Stop. But that's not what this says. This says 1800 hours. Okay? 1800 hours is a 3-hour difference. That's a 3-hour difference. His phone was with his friend's truck, was in his friend's truck, and all his friends said they had returned from the island based on information provided at the time. Caron asked dispatch to forward the reporting party, Christine Wells Walmsley, to Jackson County Sheriff's Office, JCSO, to make an official missing persons report. Shortly thereafter, dispatch advised the reporting party was calling JCSO and the United States Coast Guard had been notified. At approximately 1:38 a.m. on July 5th, Caron spoke with Ocean Springs Police Department regarding the complaint and advised that JCSO would be taking lead on the case. Caron also spoke to JCSO Lieutenant Odom, okay? the shift supervisor, who said they had taken the initial report. He said his deputies had spoken with several friends that traveled to the island on the vessel with Nolan, and that with Nolan, and that when they left, he was in the company of an unknown female. Okay. So this is an unknown female, but everybody is saying Katie. And that he chose to remain at the island. Based on the information provided, Odom did not have reason to believe there were any water-related emergencies. Like, there was nothing urgent, okay? Leave me alone. And he believed that most likely the scenario was Nolan rode in on another vessel, but did not have his phone in his possession to make contact with the family. No further action was taken by Karan or his shift the morning of July 5th. Stop. So you mean to tell me, I understand that a lot of people, when you call in for teenagers being missing and all of that, that they usually tell you got to wait 24 hours. You know, they'll probably turn up, yada, 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 bugada, 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 bugada. But now we see how this case turned out. But this is how whoever this is, Lieutenant Odom, yeah, you got some explaining to do, okay? Because he dismissed this. At approximately 1800 hours on the evening of July 5th, Karan reported to the command post established by JCSO at the Lake Mars Pier, and assisted with efforts to include sending MDMR patrol vessels and crew to the northwest tip of Horn Island to conduct sonar surveys of the area. So that's when we get the report for the sonar surveys, okay? The sonar surveys were inclusive and terminated due to adverse weather conditions. All right, so boom, let me go back to Lieutenant Odom for a second. So from the onset of this case, it's giving that the sheriff's department really didn't give two fucks. That's what it's giving to me. Is that what it's giving to you? Because from the onset, y'all, they just assumed, oh, he done went out there and he rode back in with somebody else and just doesn't have his phone. There's no emergency. What? Ain't no way you gonna just push me to the side like that. No. It's giving that to y'all too? Okay. It's giving that, yeah. It's giving that too. Okay, y'all getting that too. All right. So now let's continue. So on July 5th, 2026, at approximately 9 a.m., MDMR Lieutenant Colonel Jex, I guess is his name, requested drone assistance from MDMR Captain Freeman as part of the search and rescue for Nolan Wells at Horn Island. MDMR Lieutenant Mac Kosovich transported Freeman by vessel to Horn Island. At approximately 10 a.m., Freeman attempted 3 launches, with no success. A software issue was identified and unable to be repaired in the field. At approximately 10:30 a.m., Freeman requested Senior Master Sergeant Shay Smith report for duty with additional drones. Freeman and Kosovich picked up Smith and transported him. Oh, I thought Shay was a female. My bad. Shay Smith is a male, y'all. It's not a female. I thought it was a female. So they transported him to Horn Island. At approximately 12:40 p.m., Smith launched the first drone flight. The launch location was 30. Okay, so they're going to give you longitude, latitude. We don't need all of that. The search area was approximately 0.1 square miles and consisted of a parallel search pattern. The second flight launched at 1:22 p.m. All right. This search area was approximately 0.1 square miles and consisted of a parallel search pattern. The second flight ended abruptly due to a battery separation from the drone. The excessive heat caused the lithium-ion batteries to swell. Further flight attempts were canceled due to excessive heat. Nolan Wells was not located during either flight. And then they said to see the images. All right. So there was no picking up of Nolan by sonar drones. Okay. They did not detect him. All right. So sonar drones, if you don't know, they use like sound waves to search underwater. And they usually use these when they're looking at cases of missing people or to locate boats or vehicle or to cover large areas. They do have underwater drones, but they use the sonar drones. Okay. So now it goes on to say they skip over. Okay. You see how we go from July 5th. We got nothing from the Marine Patrol on July 6th. Okay. There's nothing in this report for July 6th. Now, it goes on to say that on July 8th, 2026, at approximately 13:41 hours, Jackson County Captain Christine Johnson requested GPS file download assistance from MDMR Captain Freeman as part of the search and rescue for Nolan Wells at Horn Island. Officer Shay M. Smith was assigned to download data contained on vessels, and then it gives 2 vessel numbers here. Okay. On July 8th, 2026, at approximately 16:09 p.m., MDMR officer Shay M. Smith met with Bart, okay, Edmiston, I believe is how you say his last name, and then they have the address, and they met with him in Ocean Springs. Edmiston provided Smith with a driver's license and a boat registration card. Bart signed the permission to search for him and escorted Smith down the pier to vessel MI, that's the vessel number or whatever, to the vessel, was in the boat lift on the north side of the residence. The vessel contained a pair of Grumman GPS map charts, plotters, and wires for sonar, waypoint, and chart sharing and syncing. Smith inserted a 32 gigabyte card into the unit and followed to prompts to copy data to a memory card. A single admin file, ADM file, was downloaded and labeled with the boat's VIN number. Okay. On July 8th, 2026, at approximately 17:10 p.m. Hey, Druvy, that's 5:10 p.m. MDMR officer Shay M. Smith met with Jerry Adkerson and Jennifer Pyron. Now, wait a minute. Because isn't Pyron the last name of Wyatt? Isn't Pyron Wyatt's last name, y'all? Located at, and they live in Biloxi, Mississippi. Atkerson provided Smith with a driver's license and vehicle registration. Atkerson signed the permission to search for him. That's the vessel's VIN number. The vessel's VIN number was in the driveway of the residence. The vessel contained a Grumman GPS map chart plotter. Smith inserted a 32 gigabyte card into the unit and followed to prompts to copy. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I may have this wrong. Jerry is Bart Wyatt's stepbrother or his grandfather? or his father? Wait a minute. Pause. I thought that was the father. Okay. Let me hold up. Let me back up, bring it back, come rewind. Jerry is the owner of Wyatt's boat, because there was only 2 boats that were out there in that water during the tow. Bart is the dude that came from college to visit. Bart is the extra dude that also was there, that is Warren's buddy. Remember, Warren called everybody his friend, his buddies. And you have Wyatt on the phone, because Warren says it was Wyatt on the phone. And then you hear Warren in the background, somebody calling out to Warren. And we also heard Bart is out there too. Let's, for the sake of everything, let's play that one more again, shall we? I'm sorry, y'all. We got to play that again. My bad. I'm sitting over here talking and I muted myself. All right, so let's play this again. And I'm going to use this downloaded file only because I can fast forward. We're going to go all the way to the captain, because the captain says who he hung up with. Okay? If you didn't hear the recording is available on my page. I believe it's also, I think TMZ posted it as well. Hold on. I want to get to the captain. Okay. So here we are with the captain. Okay. Let's go right here.
I really do. You're going to have a fee for service come up under Jerry. It sounds like a bunch of kids on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking. And he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. And they're all under 18. And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24 footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said that Jerry, yeah, he said.
Okay. So Jerry is Wyatt's grandfather. Okay. All right. So now we have connected the dots. Okay. Pyron is Wyatt's last name. So that would be Wyatt's mom and Wyatt's granddad. So Bart is completely separate from the, got it. Okay. We got it. We worked it out. We did it, y'all. We worked it out. Okay. So now so that means that one of Wyatt's boats was in fact tracked by GPS. Because when we get back to here, let me take this down. Let's get back to the document. And that makes sense. Okay? That makes sense because these are the friends, quote unquote, that were last seen with Nolan. And they were calling for tow assistance. Is Wyatt's mom the judge? That's Warren's mom. Okay, so we're going to go back here. All right, then we're going to go back here for a second. Where is it? Because they had already been to Bart's house. Okay, right here. So that makes sense as to why they went to two different locations to search two different boats. Right, I'm sorry. It's the stepmom. The judge is Warren's stepmom. And Wyatt's last name is Payton. And Jerry is his grandfather. So the two boats that were in distress, they've gone and they've added them to this missing persons. See right here, it says station complaint, missing person. I don't know why it says a non-criminal report. I guess because they're not police and that they're actually assisting another agency, which would be the Jackson County, Mississippi Sheriff's Department. Or did I say that right? The County Jackson, Mississippi Sheriff's Office. I don't know. Somebody told me how to say that. Okay. Oh, brother. Anyway, please stay on topic. Please hit the like button. Please lean on the likes, y'all. All right. So they have GPS for Bart's boat. And now, all right, here, we're down here. All right. So Bart is in Ocean Springs. And then they went over here and they went to Jerry Atkerson and Jennifer Pyron. I said Pyron. And they're in Biloxi, Mississippi. So remember, the boat went to Biloxi. And that makes sense. So the boat that we were looking at when they came out on the news report and they gave us the GPS tracking that they gave us was for Wyatt's boat. Wyatt's boat is the boat that went across the land on the trailer to the house. It makes sense. Warren, the so-called best friend, had hate in his... Okay. All right. So Atkerson provided Smith with a driver's license and a vehicle registration. Atkerson signed a permission to search form, which I've showed y'all both of these forms already. But if you are just getting here, here is Jerry Atkerson's permission for MDMR to perform a search of his vehicle, okay? Of his vessel, excuse me. It's a vessel because it is a boat, all right? And then here is the permission slip for search from Bart, okay? All right, so let's get back into it. Where is my document? Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right. And the boat was in the driveway of the residence. The vehicle contained a Garmin GPS map, chart plotter. Smith inserted a 32 gigabyte, we already read this, 32 gigabyte card into the unit and followed the prompts to copy data to the memory card. A single admin file was downloaded and labeled with the vehicle's VIN number, the vessel's VIN number. On July 9th at approximately 900 hours, which is 9 a.m., MDMR officer Shay M. Smith made a working copy of each of the admin files. Smith used Garmin Home Port to open the files. Each file contained the following. It contained waypoints. It contained waypoints, tracks, and routes. On July 10th at approximately 9:30 a.m., MDMR officer Shay M. Smith used Garmin Home Port to convert the admin file into GPX file. The GPX file was ingested into Google Earth to develop PowerPoint slides with the date, times, and routes of vessel MI4088BU. So let me go over here. Let's look at these permissions. And let's figure out which one that is. Okay, so that would be Wyatt's vessel. Okay, so this is for Wyatt's vessel. So here we have the times of everything where the vessel departed. Okay, and the vessel departed at 9:56 a.m. from El Camino Real Road, and it was headed to Horn Island. All right, it arrived at Horn Island at 11:14 on the western tip of the island. at 11:15, the GPS drop points consisted with stationary position and the GPS on. So the GPS was on, and they dropped anchor at 11:15, which is 1 minute after they arrived. All right. Then it says here at 4:31, the vessel departs west tip of Horn Island, northbound, with speeds at about 0.1 and 4.2 knots for approximately 275 miles. So, Druvy, if you are still in here, or any of my military people or maritime people, 0.6 and 4.2 knots. That's slow, right? You need your handy dandy notebook, girl. We are at a whole nother level, okay? We is in maritime. Please stay on topic and be sure that you are leaning on the like. Druvy, did you leave us? Okay, so that's gonna be a slow rate of speed from what I'm gathering, because then it goes on to say at 5:25, the vessel regains normal operation with speeds at 30 to 35 knots. So that's a huge difference from 4.2 knots to 30 to 35 knots. And if you remember from the interview, this is where Wyatt says that they pulled the plug out of the boat, and everybody went to the front of the boat, and they were able to 0.6 and 4.2 knots. That's slow, right? On the boat, Druvy? That's like 2 miles an hour. Okay. Thank you. And then you have, listen, we got peoples in the crowd that help us out over here. All right. And then it regains speeds of 30 to 35 knots. So when they pulled the plug out of that boat, remember when they said it was towed for 3 miles? It wasn't exactly 3 miles. It was 2.75 miles, but it traveled at that speed. And according to this time, it says between 4:31 to 5:24. That's almost an hour. According to this GPS right here, this is the time. And right here, see, that's the time between, because it says from 11:15 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., the GPS dropping points was consistent with stationary position and GPS on. Okay. So now for almost an hour, they were traveling at speeds from 0.6 to 4.2 knots. And we just heard that's like 2 miles an hour. They were doing that for an hour. But you see, I guess it started at 0.6 and then it got to the 4.2 knots. Then within 1 minute, when they say the boat shot up and was planing across the water, which is gliding across the top of the water, it only took a matter of 1 minute for them to go from 4.2 knots to the 30 knots. And they coasted from there, from 5:25. Please, all my maritime people, tell me if I'm explaining that correctly, because this is new territory for me, okay? Then you got 5:44, the vehicle arrives at El Camino Real Road. So here we go. 5:44, the vehicle is back where it started, okay? Because it started at El Camino Real Road at 9:56 that morning. So it's back at the original dock, all right? Then it leaves from El Camino Real Road. At 5:52, the vessel departs El Camino Road and heads into Fort Bayou. Okay, so it heads into Fort Bayou. I don't know what happened around this time. I know a lot of people are speculating because they turned right back around and came back at 6:06 p.m. Okay, so all right, so see, we learning something today. 1 knot equals 1.1 miles per hour. I had to refresh my memory. Thank you so much. They went from 4 miles an hour, then 35 miles an hour. Right. So they're saying because as they were going, the water was going out of the boat. They pulled the plug. The water was going out of the boat. They were all in the front of the boat. And the water is now coming out the boat. And once all the water, I guess the boat, it just, I don't know. Maybe listen, I'm speculating. Maybe there was a fight on the boat and Nolan got knocked over. Maybe Nolan fell off the boat. I don't know. Okay? I don't know what happened. All I know is right here in black and white from the MDMR Marine Patrol, we have this boat speed going from about 2 to 4 miles an hour. If I'm doing this right, or maybe 2 to 6 miles an hour, whatever. They're at a turtle's crawl. And then in a matter of a minute, the boat shoots out across the water. Now they go to Fort Bayou and they make this quick turnaround. I listened to the interview and Warren's answers seemed real suspect. Really? I think the whole thing is suspect. All right. So they did this turnaround at Fort Bayou. Then so we are here. Okay. So at 6:36, the vessel departed from El Camino Railroad and heads toward St. Martin Bayou, turns southeast to Biloxi Bay Bridge, then back to Fort Bayou launch. Now, according to Warren, this is where they plugged the boat. Let's listen for ourselves to what he had to say around this time. Let's listen for ourselves. Because we know that he spoke about this stuff when he was on with that guy. I'm going to call him that guy. Because I really don't feel like giving him. Did I close that damn window out? No, I didn't. But I didn't stop it either. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. So this is where we kind of left off at with Warren trying to explain to us everything. So let's listen.
My buddy Wyatt jumped out and pulled the plug on the boat once we kind of got out there because he got the motor to trim down. And the motor trimmed down. My buddy Wyatt pulled the plug and we planed off. We moved all the way to the front of the boat so we could plane off. And eventually we planed off and the boat was running. So when you're planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou and we didn't just run straight up my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, like the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house and we ate and, napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the island. So, we were all tired. And eventually we go over to,
Stop. Stop right there. I didn't want to be seen. Stop right there. What he just said does not align here. He says they went straight into Fort Bayou. So whose boat was he on? Was he on Wyatt's boat or was he on Bart's boat? Because this right here is Wyatt's GPS. Wyatt's boat which is the tide line. Bart's boat is the Triton. No, Wyatt's boat is the Triton, and Bart's boat is the tide line. Okay? So this is the Triton. Wyatt's boat went back to El Camino Road. You said some of y'all jumped in the water. And that the whole reason y'all went to Fort Bayou was so Wyatt could jump in. So where did y'all leave this boat at? Isn't that what he said? So Wyatt could jump in? Or are you trying to tell us that Wyatt was on Bart's boat and Bart drove Wyatt's boat? That does not align with the GPS. That doesn't align. The Palm Beach was already gone. That's the other thing. The Palm Beach, according to Warren, the Palm Beach was already gone. Now, the Palm Beach wasn't in distress. The Palm Beach was not in distress. So did you tell the driver of the Palm Beach to go? Three boats. One leaves early, two comes back, two stays, and one is dragging the other, towing the other. Exactly. The Palm Beach was good. So now let me give y'all this scenario. Let me say this. They're painting a picture for me. I don't know about for y'all, but for me, they're painting a picture that they have a habit of leaving their peoples when they're in distress. Are y'all picking that up too? Because if Wyatt was dealing with the Triton taking on water, and if the Triton was taking on water, and that's the reason why they were leaving the island in the first place early, according to Warren, is because the Triton was taking on water. So that's why y'all were leaving. Whoever was driving the Triton left y'all asses behind to drown. So they're giving me the vibe that they don't check on each other. So why the hell are we sitting here expecting them to check on Nolan? Yes, everybody was drinking that day. No, you don't expect them to remember every detail, but you expect them to remember and have it as close to accuracy as possible. That's the thing. We don't even know which one. Okay. Let me ask y'all. Do y'all know which boat Nolan was on when they rode out? Thank you, Big Rage. If you listen to the story, Coco, when he was talking about the story, he said, I was concerned about getting my buddy's boat back. Nolan's phone was on the Triton. Which boat was sinking? The Triton. You know who else's phone was on that boat? On the Triton? Javon's phone. Lord, Hammeth and mercy. I wish I had a bomb to drop right now, but I don't even have my soundboard connected. Because it don't work with StreamYard. Y'all remember when I pulled that article? Do y'all need me to pull that article again? Where Javon's grandmother told the Sun Herald. Let me make believers out of some of y'all, because I think y'all think I be playing. I think y'all think I be playing, and I don't really be, you know. I think some of y'all think I be playing. Hold on 1 second. Let me go on ahead and let me go pull this up real quick for y'all. Let me go on ahead and pull this up real quick for y'all. Where is it at? It's on my page, and I know I rubbed some people the wrong way. Here we go. When I posted this, because I said a long time ago that Javon's story was a little shaky to me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is the Sun Herald report. Okay. This is the Sun Herald report. It's scrolling. It's going to get us there. It's going to get us there. Because I want y'all to see it in black and white when I say it. Okay, Doris Hands was a grandmother to the childhood friends. Hands is Tashima's last name. Okay, so here we go. They headed to Horn Island. He believed he last saw Nolan at 4 p.m. Both young men right here. Let me zoom in because I know that arrow is making a little funny to see, and then I got my watermark on it. Both young men left their phones on the boat that Wells rowed out on. Williams later retrieved his phone, while Wells' mother found her son's phone through location services, Hands said. So Nolan and Javon's boats were over there on the Triton, and the Triton was the one that was going down. And now Warren is telling us that they got back to land and they went to Fort Bayou so that Wyatt could get back on, so Wyatt could hop in the boat so they can continue to keep the party going. Because, see, he couldn't continue to drive the Triton around because the Triton was having a problem. That's what he wants us to believe. But what we are seeing here in this report, right here, we're seeing that this vessel went to Fort Bayou and then went back to El Camino Railroad, right? And then it was it departed El Camino Railroad and headed southwest to the St. Martin Bayou, turned southeast to Biloxi Bay Bridge, then back north to Fort Bayou boat launch. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. Because right after that, it's 7:36. At 1919, it arrives at Fort Bayou boat launch. At 9:47, the vessel was trailered and it was driven to Canary Lane. Okay. At 7:59, last data point record on 7/4. The boat was parked in front of the home after it drove across land. Now, what I will say is, the next time that boat moves, it was powered on and the vessel moved for 52 feet. All the rest of this is powered on. Here's where we have the MDMR, Officer Strickland powered on, the GPS, and took screenshots. 1810, it was powered on again, but no GPS movement. 7-8, MDMR, Officer Smith powered on, GPS, permission to search, at one admin file downloaded. But see, there's a lot of movement going on. Unless you trying to tell me that the boat was taken on water. And when they headed to Fort Bayou and did this quick turnaround, that was so Wyatt could go get Jerry. And he picked Jerry up at the boat dock and drove back to El Camino Real Road and dropped him off so that he could do whatever it is that he needed to do. And Jerry inspected the boat to see what was going on with the boat and then did a test run of this boat right here from El Camino Road to Fort Bayou boat launch and then took the boat out the water. And then they powered it back on to test the vehicle and drove it 52 feet. That's the only thing that would make sense to me, because as of right now, there's some movements that still ain't being talked about. This is the same. They gave us two of the same sheets. Okay, yeah, because this one goes on to say that they met with Bart and located him on the 8th. I believe we've already read that, though. Hold on. Yeah, this is a repeated document in here. Let me check something. Hold on. LB. Okay, so that is the boat. That's Wyatt's boat again. All right, so here we go. I didn't mean to pre-highlight. I read ahead. My bad. So on July 5th, 2026, at approximately 11:55 a.m., Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, Office of Marine Patrol, Master Sergeant Jacob Strickland received a call from Captain William Freeman to locate and interview a female subject that was possibly involved with the missing person on Horn. Who do y'all think that female is? Y'all drop it down there in the comments. Be sure that y'all are leaning on a like, please, and thank you. Officer Jay Strickland reported to the residents of Nequin and Pascagoula. If I butchered that name, my apologies, Mississippi, who was initially reported to be on Horn Island with a group of people associated with Nolan Wells. When interviewed, Nequin stated that she had already spoken to Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators and stated that she was not on Horn Island, but in fact on Petty Boys. Is that how you say that? Brown eyes, if you ain't here, tell me if I said that right. Pettit Boys Island with a different group of friends. Naquan stated she knew Wells, but had not seen or spoken to him in over a year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this person that we're speaking of is someone who is friends with Katie. This one of Katie friends. Hold on, let me pull her up for you. Hold on. I'm gonna get her. Laney. Hold on. Henny Lingo, can you send me the link, please? Hold on. Okay, so we gonna have to deal with my audio being probably sounding a little jacked up. Do I sound okay to y'all? Let me know if I sound all right or if I sound a little wonky to y'all. Because if I sound a little wonky, we'll have to figure this thing out another way. Lancey. I said Lance. Okay, L-N-E. Okay. So let's take this down and let's put this up right here. Sorry, y'all. I sound good? Okay. This is Lainey, y'all. Lainey is one of Katie's friends. Now, this is allegedly who they are talking about, okay? Lainey. All right? Oh, it says no results. Wait a minute, because I know she's in here somewhere. That's not Katie. Lainey is from the same area as, not flatbacks. Y'all knock it off. Be nice, okay? In case y'all haven't been able to tell. Okay. No, that's not it. Lainey, that's her name. Lainey. This is Katie McCormick's page, y'all. Pascagoula, Mississippi, right? Is that her in the photo? All right. In a minute, I'll have the photo for y'all. My bad. But this is allegedly the young lady that they're talking about in that report. Okay. And she was not on Horn Island. So this makes me wonder, why was her name brought up if there was no concrete evidence that she's the one that they were talking about? Have those pics, videos of possibly Nolan being attacked, beaten on the stand been confirmed? Nolan was not beaten. The autopsy confirmed that he was not beaten. And no, that video of that young man on that beach, we don't know who that is at all, but that is not him. So let me explain this to y'all. They did, I keep finding myself repeating this. They did a dissection of Nolan from head to toe, meaning that they actually went in and cut him up to dissect him, which is why he did not have an open casket. Okay, they did his face, his neck, his chest, his arms, his buttocks, his back, his torso, his legs. And they said that there was no, do I need to pull that up? They said that there was no bruising on his body, that his body had not been beaten, basically. Just like the narrative about his lungs not being there has been taken off like wildfire. But the report clearly says, let me pull it up for y'all really quickly. Because the report clearly says that his organs were transported with his body. The only thing that is missing is the neck structure. And they could not complete the autopsy to find out if there was water in his lungs or his stomach. The airway was missing. The lungs were there, but they had already been dissected. They'd already been dissected. So they were unable to find out if there was water or not in his lungs. Hold on. No, that wasn't yesterday. All right. Right here. No. Where's it at? Nolan. I'm going to show y'all. I'm sorry that I'm looking for stuff right now. But I really like to back up what I say with what I see and not just what I hear, because that is a big story that's going around right now. Why is it not here? It should be right here. All right, so I'm going to continue to talk. So anyway, as we've seen, they have gone ahead and they have already entered into the chat somebody who wasn't even there. But now there's this whole thing that's going on. Why didn't they mention Katie's name, y'all? Why would this random girl's name be mentioned if you already know that Katie has been on the island and that Katie is who Nolan stayed behind for? Why would they say some female? Why wouldn't you just tell who the girl was? Now we're hearing a lot. We're hearing a lot about how Katie has spoken to authorities already. How Katie has here we go. No. How Katie has cooperated. We don't really know if Katie is doing all of that because Katie has not come out and spoken. But I'm going to get into Katie in a minute because Katie's sister has been doing a lot of talking for her. Okay? She's been doing a lot of talking for her, but we have yet to hear Katie come out and speak for herself. And that to me is very troubling because Katie should be the one addressing some of these matters, in my humblest of opinions. Am I on this? Yeah, I'm on the screen. Okay. Share the screen. Do. All right, here we are, the preliminary hearing. The preliminary report. So let's go through this really quickly. So we've already gotten to the red. We got right here, you got the red discoloration and the soft tissue in the back of the head, in the occipital region. Okay. You have the corneal incision of the scalp because the brain was removed. You have the Y-shaped incision of the arterial torso because the organs were removed. But right here, it says accompanying the body. Okay. The organs accompany the body. And Ben Crump told us that the organs were inside of the body cavity when it was received in DC. So the organs were there. What was not there was the neck structure. That's what was reported as not received with the body. Okay? That's what was not received with the body. Now, all this other stuff, I don't know what's going on. The posterior neck dissection, right there. It says no fractures, no evidence of deep tissue injury. So there's no bruising around the neck. However, someone can be choked out, chopped in the throat, and they could lose air that way. But there's no deep tissue, no evidence of deep tissue injury around his neck. All right. This is where they did the dissections of everything. No injury to the ribs, the pelvis, but he talks about that down here. All right. Boop. marked decomposition changes. Okay, for can obscure the presence or absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during a second autopsy examination. For these reasons, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. We are reading the second autopsy, the preliminary report from the second autopsy. These procedures include facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the ribs, pelvis, dissection and subcutaneous and deep tissue dissection of the back, buttocks, arms, and legs. There were no fractures or deep tissue injuries identified. So he was not beaten, is what that preliminary autopsy report says. So if the preliminary autopsy report is telling you that they did dissections of the body to make sure that there was no bruising under the skin, and they have determined that there was no bruising on the body, anything that you're hearing about him being beaten is a lie. It's a lie. When it comes down to the lungs, because the initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and lungs for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents. Okay, but it says, because initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ. Remember, in the beginning of the autopsy, they said that all the organs, basically the organs, were in the body cavity. However, the neck structure was missing. So that does not mean that the lungs and the stomach was not there. The lungs and the stomach was definitely there. But because they had already dissected those organs, the water that would have been inside of the lungs, the contents of the stomach, including water, food, alcohol, whatever it was, drinks, juice, whatever, was in his stomach, would no longer be there. But it's a narrative. It's a narrative. All right. So now let's get back into this document where we were, because I didn't forget what we were doing. So yes, my question still remains when it comes down to this doc. Why didn't they mention Katie? Why would you go and instantaneously mention some random chick, but now all we hear about is Katie? Don't worry, Katie is not off the hook with me. If you've been here, then you know I've been saying that Katie is a suspect, y'all. Katie is just a suspect, okay? She's just a suspect. Now, let's get back down to it. So this young lady says, I wasn't even on Horn Island. I was on a whole nother island. So Officer Strickland followed up on some other possible names associated with Wells that may have seen him at Horn Island that day. Jacob Woods of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, was not at home when Strickland checked his residence. Officer Strickland reported to the residence of Drew Johnson of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. No contact was made. So I want to know, has Jacob come down and made a statement to Sheriff Ledbetter? I want to know if Drew Johnson went on and made a statement down there to Sheriff Ledbetter, since they're telling us that all of these people have been since they're telling us all these people have been down there talking and cooperating. Did you talk to these two or did you miss these two? Let's continue. At approximately 16:30, which is 4:30, Officer Strickland contacted Wyatt Pyron's mother, Jennifer Pyron, who stated that Wyatt had already spoken to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators earlier that day. So now we have Wyatt's mom, who says, what do you mean, can I full screen? Is that what you want me to do? Let me do this. If I do that, you ain't going to see everything. Hold on. Okay, is that better? Okay, so just know that anybody that is commenting, I ain't going to see you. Because I cannot see. I do not have both of my screens. You're all good, babe. Some people just came to be agitators. Okay, thank you. Uniquely, please stay in the chat because you already know. How about I do that? I'll just lighten it up a little bit for y'all. You know what? Since I have it like that. Okay. That's the best I could. Well, because I know what's happening here. People want to be able to do they whatever. All right, look, that's where we are. I'm about to continue reading because we got a lot to get through. All right. So where are we? We down here. All right. So I was asking about Jacob and I was asking about Drew. Now, if y'all was here yesterday, remember I was telling y'all that we're about to have a whole lot more names come out because out of all of those thousands of people that were on that island, there was more people that were going to be mentioned into this. So if we think there's a mess already, we ain't seeing shit yet by the time this get done. So now they done already talked. They over there at Wyatt's house trying to talk to him. But his mother said that he already spoke to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators earlier that day when Officer Strickland showed up from the MDMR, right? So he says, but they go on to say, but would cooperate in any way that they needed. Officer Strickland was given verbal consent to view the Grumman GPS on Pyron's vessel. Officer Strickland observed the track line showing Pyron's vessel located on Horn Island to narrow down the search area for Wells. The GPS displayed that the vessel was located near the western tip of Horn Island from the date of July 4th. Officer Strickland was notified the Jackson County Sheriff's Department was taking lead on the missing persons investigation. MDMR officer would be in a supporting role for the remainder of the investigation. So that means that MDMR was handling this case until July 5th, because this is when he came out, when Officer Strickland was out doing his field work and was questioning people and trying to figure out what's going on here. All right. So remember that Jackson County Sheriff's Department took over on July 5th. All right. That's according to the MDMR Marine Patrol. That is what we are reading right now. So now it says on Sunday, July 5th at approximately 8 a.m., Lieutenant Colonel Bryce Gex, and Captain Jack Irwin with the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources launched patrol vessels. Admiral Dewey at Biloxi Small Craft Harbor. Officers aboard the Admiral Dewey traveled to the northwestern tip of Horn Island in search of a reported missing person on the island. It was reported that an 18-year-old black male, Nolan Wells, did not return home from Horn Island that the evening prior with the other people aboard the vessel. Wells' last known reported location was the northwest tip of the island. Upon approach of the island in the channel, a vessel signaled intent to speak with officers. Gex and Irwin aboard the vessel was Wells' former high school coach, later identified as Les George, and Wells' parents, later identified as Christine and Elmore Wonesley. Officer Gex and Irwin introduced themselves and exchanged phone contact information with George to stay in touch during the search. George explained that they had a private citizen. Hold on. George explained that they had, that they and other private citizens had been on the island on the northwest tip looking for Wells. So I have not heard even though Warren has said that him and his family went out there to go help look, I don't, did y'all hear Christine? Because I didn't hear Christine mention Warren's name as being someone who went out there on the boats looking for Nolan. I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to act like I caught every single morsel. All right. So Gex and Irwin stated an initial search of the southwest started an initial search of the southwestern shoreline and dunes to rule out any possibilities Wells ended up there overnight. The search of the southwestern side produced no results. Gex and Irwin began to search by vessel the waters surrounding the northwestern tip, looking for any signs of Wells. At approximately 900 hours, Gex called MDMR Captain Will Freeman. Captain over investigations for our drone search capabilities to respond to the island and assist. All right. Observed search efforts in the area were National Park Services, multiple Jackson County vessels, Biloxi Fire Service vessels. Stop. Right there. Didn't they say that Katie's father was a firefighter? So we got fire services out there. And if that be true, that Katie's father is a firefighter, there's a connection into this investigation. Connect the goddamn dots. I'll be damned. A Civil Air Patrol pilot and a Jackson County helicopter. Multiple privately owned vessels and their crew assisted in searching for Wells. Also, approximately 12:30 p.m., the Admiral Dewey with Gex and Irwin returned to the mainland to refuel. Captain Freeman, Lieutenant Kosovich, and investigator Shay Smith aboard vessel number 8822 stayed near the northwest tip of the island and continued to run drone searches for Wells. So I believe that's what we may have heard when we were. So these are all of the calls, okay, that were going. Call closed. Calls have been briefly reopened to allow an assignment change. Then they closed the channel. So they were open and closing channels. These are their call logs. All right. I don't think that there's anything else that is in here until we get here. Here we see that on July 6th, deceased. So they searched until July 6th, but there was no more reporting that was done. Okay. So that is what we have on that. That is the, wait a minute. Oh, shoot. Sorry. That is the MDMR report. Okay. That came from the Marine Patrol that was out there when Nolan was found. So this is just a rough draft of everything that we just saw. Okay. So here, all right, and this is the same vessel stuff that we went over. No, I don't see anything new in there. So here we have Bart's ID. This is Bart's Mississippi driver's license. Okay. And his boat registration. All right. That's Bart's. Okay. And then of course you guys have already seen these because these are the come on now. These are the GPS, the infamous GPS records. Where is it at? Why won't it move? Okay. These are the infamous GPS records that show you. All right. Trailered where it was driven to. Okay. We've all seen these already. Right? To the bridge. So we've seen all of that. Now, my question still remains, who the hell told them at 7 p.m. What is this 7 p.m. time? Again, we're going to read this again. As part of our response, the MDMR requests SAR data related to the missing person, Nolan Wells. The MDMR will use this data to start sonar scans in the area. Remember, the sonar scans are what goes below the sea level to be able to identify vessels, bodies, etc. All right, using sonar technology. And it says, while information is still limited, we request the following be used for data. And it says 7/4/2026, 1800 hours. I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Who gave them this time? Who the hell last saw Nolan at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m.? I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Who last saw him at 6? Now let's get into this over here real quick. Let's get into this real quick. Okay. Because to me, the only person based off of everybody else's timeline who would have last seen him at 7, this is the only person who has not been talking. And this is just my suspicion. Henny Glasses in the chat if you agree. Because here's the thing. Warren has said 3 o'clock. Javon has said 3:40, 4 o'clock. Trayston has said 4 o'clock. By all accounts, including what Christine Walmsley told us. I'm just going to call her Christine. Katie reached out to her. Katie gave her condolences. Katie said, oh no, he told me he was getting on the boat with the boys. But the guys are saying that Nolan said he was staying behind. I need y'all to follow me for a second. Why my suspicions have always been on Katie, and I have been saying Katie was the last person to see Nolan alive. Follow me, and if I make sense, please say you make sense, and if I don't, say, nah, sis, try again. Warren and them are leaving the island allegedly at 3 p.m., but I really believe that the Palm Beach took off first, right? They are still on the island. Warren says that he last saw Nolan at 3 p.m. That, to me, says that's when they say that all of this went down, where they were allegedly telling him, get on the boat, right? Right. All right. He says, I'm going to stay back. Let's just follow the story for a second, because I like to follow shit through. I don't lock in on one thing. I go everywhere. So buckle up. We going for a ride, baby. Warren and them are trying to get this boat out the water. Just saying. Let me turn these off so I could concentrate. So I'm not seeing y'all chat. I'm sorry. All right. Warren and them see him. Now, Warren and them are dealing with the boat. The boat is going down. It's filling up with water. I still don't understand why Nolan would not say, oh shit, the boat is sinking, let me get my phone. I don't understand why Javon wouldn't say, oh shit, the boat is sinking, let me get my phone. Because according to the Sun Herald report, Javon's grandmother told them that both Nolan and Javon's phones were both on the same boat that Nolan rode into the island on. And Nolan rode in on the Triton. The Triton is the boat that is in distress. Y'all following me? I hope y'all following me, because I'm not looking in the chat because I don't want to get distracted right now with where I'm going. So now at 4:31, the Triton and the tide line are going away from the island. The tide line pulling the Triton. They are leaving at 4:31. If it be true that Nolan was really digging on Katie and decided to stay behind, and they want to put this narrative out there that he was drinking, so he just didn't think about his phone, and it was normal for everybody to leave their phones behind. And I'm still curious and wondering why Javon still has not told everybody, tell the world how you left your phone on the boat and had to get it back later too. You ain't said shit, but I'm just gonna leave that right there and keep going down with my scenario with Katie. If this story be a lead. Okay. So now everybody last saw Nolan in the friend group. The last one to see him in the friend group was Javon and Trayston, and that was at 4 p.m. All of them has spoken out publicly, but somewhere, some way, somehow we get to this 6 p.m. Where did this 6 p.m. come from? Who told these people 6 p.m.? That's what we all want to know. Now, Christine Wansley says that she spoke to Katie and that Katie said she already gave her statement. She was one of the first ones to give her statement from what we have been told. Let me get that 6 p.m. up here for the people that are just now getting in here. Okay. Let me get this 6 p.m. up here. Right here. Bang. Here we go. All right. She's the only one that has not come out and spoken publicly. She's the only one. So now we have this mystery time and we have this mystery woman who people are saying she has cooperated behind the scenes. I was ill prepared. Don't have the mother's clip yet, but let's go on ahead and let's pull this up real quick for y'all. Hold on. Because I got a little something for y'all. Okay? Because there's some peoples that's been talking, and they've been talking on the fake book. And I'm going to get you these peoples that's been talking on the fake book. Because it's also been said on there that Katie has already cooperated with authorities. So, Katie, are you going to give a public statement maybe? I'm just curious. Hold on. Got them. I got that right here. See, I be knowing my stuff. I know what I be having. Let me get this up here for y'all. I apologize for the delay. Hold on. I got it. Boom. Remember this? Gracie McCormick. Her sister has been out here talking. Gracie said Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. What do you mean? What do you mean Katie was safe? Katie assumed the quote-unquote friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. So pause. Wait a minute. Hold on. So you mean to tell me the female that he ditched his dudes for, allegedly, ditched him on the island too? You mean to tell me the dude that was spending allegedly all day with Katie he left her? She left him? And why are we saying that Katie was safe. What is Katie safe from? And Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. What did they go and get her from? Nope, cat's nosy. That was not Katie. That was a young lady by the name of Lacey. Katie's last name is McCormick. But I found it very, very suspicious. It's sus as fuck. That when the MDMR people were coming around doing their interviews, they gave them someone else's name, but never mentioned Katie. This is what I'm saying. Why would she be safe? Why the brother and sister had to come and get the questions? They evidently didn't take too kindly of Katie mingling with dark ones. Well, now here's where the plot thickens. Here's where the plot thickens, y'all. Now, I'm not going to be flipping through all of this tonight. I will more than likely flip through some of this tomorrow. And I'm quite sure someone will probably go out and do it themselves. But I'm going to do something for y'all, and I ain't going to tell you who. You see this right here? This, allegedly, this person is supposed to be related to Nolan. Matter of fact, no, we're going to do this. I'm going to do this while that's up there. I'm going to do this while that's up there. Fuck that. I'm not going to leave nothing on the floor. I'm not leaving nothing on the floor. So let's go to Mari. All right? But as you can see, Mari is in communication with who? Katie. Yeah. He's in communication with Katie. And let me tell you something that I found out. There are so many people that are on this young man's page that stand with Katie. Yet I don't see anybody coming out saying that they stand with these boys. But Katie, darling, based off of what I have already run down, you would be the last person that would see Nolan alive, because you see, if the boys say that he was staying back with you and you say that he was going back to get on the boat with them, and everybody has already accounted for the fact that they done seen him, you're the last person to see Nolan alive, baby, which in my books makes you suspect number one, or a person of interest number one. Henny Glasses in the chat if you agree. Send it to me, mysteries. Katie's response to him is, what's understood don't have to be said. I love y'all. Just pray for his family and his friends. I'm good. And all I can do is pray for healing over them. This is a terrible situation, all in all. Yet Warren said that Katie can vouch that they said Nolan was staying back. Oh, mon frère contraire. She can vouch. She absolutely can vouch. You know what? Before we go down this Facebook rabbit hole, allow me to divert your attention someplace else for a second. Okay? Let me take this down and let me pull this up for y'all. Let me close some of these windows. I have too many windows open. Too much going on. Can y'all see that good? Because I want y'all to see this in 4K. Y'all can see this good? Nolan update. mystery girl Nolan Wells talked to on the island moments before vanishing. Even the son says she spoke to Nolan moments before he vanished. Even the son is saying it, okay? Moments before vanishing, identified as her sister disputes friend's story. No, y'all been late because we've been identified Katie McCormick. But let's hear what they got to say. Okay, let's hear it. The mystery girl Nolan Wells was reportedly talking to moments before he vanished has been identified, but her sister has now cast doubt on the account given by his friends. The fresh claims have deepened the mysterious. Thank you, Henny Legal. Everybody say thank you, Henny Legal, because they done sent me something else. Henny Legal, I need the other statement from the sister if you got it, please. Thank you. Love y'all. All right, so the fresh claims have deepened the mystery surrounding the football star's final hours after conflicting versions emerged over whether he ever intended to stay behind on Mississippi's Horn. Now, we already knew who she was. She was identified on day 2, 3. Oh, yeah, okay. Nolan Wells, 18, disappeared during July 4th trip to Horn Island, around 10 miles off Mississippi's Gulf Coast, before his body was found in the water 2 days later. His friends have previously claimed that they were forced to leave after their boat developed problems with its bilge pump, and that Nolan chose to remain on the island because he was talking to a girl. Well, now we have all of this paperwork that kind of backs up that the boat was in trouble. So I can't even say that the boat wasn't in trouble no more, because I did think that that was a made up story too. But I don't know if everybody is in on it, and I don't want a conspiracy theory no more than what I already had. So we can't say that the boat didn't take on water and wasn't all of that. But I want to know why the Palm Beach left first. But anyway, let's continue. All right. That mystery girl has now been reportedly identified as 19-year-old Katie McCormick, according to the Daily Mail. But McCormick's older sister, Gracie, has disputed the versions of events given by Nolan's friends. Okay. According to the outlet, Nolan had spent around 5 hours celebrating Independence Day with hundreds of other college students before his friends rushed back to the mainland because the boat was allegedly taking on water. His pals reportedly claimed that Nolan told them to leave without him because he was engrossed in conversation with McCormick. Now, according to Warren, allegedly they was all booed up. Booed up. Anyway, Ashley Cole, the judge, the stepmother of Nolan's best friend, Warren Hudson, previously said the group returned to shore after the boat developed a bilge pump problem while Nolan stayed behind. But Gracie McCormick insists her sister believed Nolan was heading back to the group with the group when the group he arrived with. Pause, stop right there. You the last one to talk to him. You just confirmed that your sister was the last one to see him. Because if he's telling them he's staying, or they telling him to get on the boat, and your sister says, I thought he left to go get on the boat with him, that makes you the last person who saw him. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out on, Gracie told Daily News. Let's read it again. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out on. Gracie told she had a conversation with Nolan and she assumed he was getting on the boat. Again, you are implicating your sister as being the last person to see Nolan. So now I ask y'all, what say you? Is Katie the one that last saw Nolan at 6 p.m.? Because who gave the MDMR a 6 p.m. timestamp? Let's continue. Thank you, Henny Legal. I will get into that in a second. We got the morsels coming in, okay? Henny Legal is working, baby. They working. Thank you for the gems. Thank you. Katie, we're going to read it one last time and continue. Katie assumed. Wait, no, let's read the whole thing together, shall we? Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out on. Gracie told Daily News. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him, she added. So she confirms that they were telling Nolan to get on the boat. Here's my other thought, though. If the boat is sinking, are you getting on the boat? I'm not getting on a sinking boat. I'm not going to get on the boat if the boat is sinking. I roll with you and all of that, but you shouldn't even be getting on the boat if the boat is sinking, in my humblest of opinions. Nobody should be getting on the boat if the boat is sinking. You should be calling for a towboat to come and get you. I'm not getting on the water. You, as my friend, are not getting on that boat either. I'm not letting, but if you choose to go, because that's your boat. How did Warren and Katie talk to each other? He's about to say that on his part of the interview. If Nolan met Katie that day, how did her and Warren get in touch? Warren said that she reached out to one of their friends. We're going to play that clip in a minute. So Gracie said her sister had traveled to Horn Island with a different group before leaving with her brother Tony and his fiancee Eva Criddle. We have given all the answers we can give to his mom and authorities, she added. There has been no suggestion of wrongdoing by Katie McCormick. Although she has not spoken publicly since Nolan disappeared, she reportedly responded to a social media post defending her. Defending who? Defending who? What's understood don't have to be said. I love y'all. Just pray for his family and his friends, McCormick wrote. But the son, you didn't give us that full statement now, did you? Because we just saw the full statement, didn't we? We just saw the full statement. She said more than that. I'm good. And all I can, I'll take it back because they said it at the end. I'm good. All I can do is pray for healing over them. This is terrible. This is a terrible situation, all in all. So now let me ask you. Okay. Takes you to as well. Okay. Now, let's go here. Let's get over here to Mari. Okay. And another thing, I'm standing behind Katie McCormick. I understand y'all don't know her, but me and 1,000 other of us have literally slept, ate, and partied at the McCormick house. Don't forget, that's Dixie's child. Now, I don't know who Dixie is and what Dixie meant to the community, but apparently Dixie's name must hold some weight. Now, we ain't going to go through all of the comments because there's one particular thing there's a couple of things that I'm looking for here. First of all, this person right here. You see this? Wells run deep. Praying for my family, but most of all, praying for Nolan's mother and father. This is somebody who says that they are family with Nolan. Right here. Praying for my family. But most of all, praying for Nolan's mother and father. Let me bring this up so y'all can see it. You see this name right here? Prayers for my family during this difficult time. Let law enforcement do their job and stop with the conspiracy theories. To my family, I love you. Rest in heaven. No. Hashtag Wells Strong. Interesting, right? Look at where she works. There's a cousin that works in Jackson County Sheriff's Office, according to her Facebook page. Do y'all see that? She's claiming that she is Nolan's cousin and She's been working at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office since September 2nd, 2025. That's what her page say. Don't come from me. That's what her page say. Okay? This is her comment. We all know and love Katie. Nobody, as far as my family, is blaming Katie. We all love her and her whole family. She has spent many events with our whole family in Three Rivers countless times. There are many people that don't know her and trying to paint this narrative about her, and she definitely doesn't deserve that. But that's not my family. My family has no vendetta out against her whatsoever. We love her. I think we just trying to understand what happened. Peace and love, everybody. Now, this side of Nolan's family that lives over there where Katie lives, they know her. And this is what they have posted. All right. Let me tell you. Somebody said, I forgot. I don't see where it says it at, but someone had posted this picture and captioned it and talked about how everybody was at Katie's house and how it was all majority Black people there. I can't tell. I don't see Nolan or anybody here. Now they claim, I don't know if that's Javon, because somebody was telling me that this was Javon. I don't know if that's Javon or not. I'm not going to say that, but I'm telling you what somebody said, just in case you heard the same thing. None of these stories make sense to me, if I'm going to be truthfully honest with you. None of them make sense to me, but what I will tell you is, this. Katie is the last person that saw Nolan. Katie has been the most quiet. And now we have this 6 p.m. timestamp as somebody saying that's the last time they saw Nolan. Now, if that be the case, everybody, well, I can't say everybody, but everybody, majority of the people that he rode in with, or at least the main people we've been talking about, were already off the island by 6 o'clock. And there's GPS that shows they were off the island by 6 o'clock. We don't have a time of leaving, as far as I know, from Javon or Tristan. And we don't know what time Katie left the island. What we do know is there was a statement made that Katie was safe, okay? That Katie was safe, and that she made it home because her brother and sister-in-law came and got her. What did they rescue her from? Did the brother not like what he saw? Did he not like seeing her hugged up with Nolan? When it comes down to the boys' story, none of their stories are adding up to me. All of them to me are suspicious. All of them are suspect. But I've been saying that I was not off of Katie. What you said? You said now you want to some Henny. Well, thank you, Riri. What time did Nolan GPS phone get back to the land? We don't know. The only person that would know what time Nolan's phone got back to land would be Christine, because she has the Life 360 app. So she would know everywhere that phone went and traveled, when it made it back to land, where it traveled when it got back to land. She would be the one that would know that. What I also don't know is, when Javon went to go get his phone, you don't know what Nolan's phone looks like? I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. What I also find suspicious is Warren called you for Christine's number because nobody heard from Nolan. But you didn't call Christine either, from what we heard. Christine said she had to call your mama and ask your mama, had he seen you? I don't like any of this. I don't like any of the questions that I have, but I got questions. Y'all know that is what I say all the time. I got questions. But Katie ain't off the hook. And what I wanted to do was show y'all that Katie should have been on the suspect list if she wasn't on the suspect list. And this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is why I have not locked in on one person, because you can't. You can't lock in on one person in this story because there are too many people to lock in on just one person. And until everything comes clean, everybody is suspect, including them other 2 people that was mentioned in the MDMR report that they didn't get in touch with. They're suspect too. But anyway, I want to thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in with me. I hope that all of this made sense to y'all. Remember to vibe high so that the bullshit don't stick. Thank y'all so very much. Please be sure that you are leaning on a like. Be sure to comment, subscribe, share it out, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Thank y'all.